All right, today we're tackling an absolute giant, Surah Baqarah. You know, the cow. It's the longest chapter in the entire Quran. And let's be honest, it can feel pretty intimidating, right? But what if I told you there's a single key? A key that unlocks its entire structure? Well, that's what we're going to find together. So, have you ever started reading it just full of motivation, and then a few pages in, you kind of feel lost? Like the topics are jumping all over the place and you can't see the connection? Yeah, if that's you, you're definitely not alone. It can feel really disjointed at first. But here's the thing, that feeling of being lost is almost part of the process, because hiding just beneath what seems like randomness, there is an incredibly precise and powerful structure. There's this one central theme that, once you get it, everything else just clicks into place. To find that key, we have to first ask, what is this surah actually doing? It's not just a random collection of stories and rules, no. It's a direct and really, really detailed response to something. And here it is. This is the key. You know that prayer at the very end of the first chapter, Al-Fatiha? Guide us to the straight path? We say it all the time. Well, Surah Baqarah is the answer. It's this incredibly detailed, comprehensive response to that exact prayer. So you got to think of it less like a book of guidance and more like a manual on how to be guided. It's literally a blueprint for the human heart. So to understand how to be guided, the surah kicks things off by showing us how different people respond to guidance. It starts by painting these three really distinct portraits, not of people really, but of the state of their hearts. It basically sorts all of humanity into three buckets, and it's all based on one thing, their internal reaction to the divine message. Is their heart open? Is it totally sealed shut? Or is there something a bit more complicated going on inside? So first up, you have the believers, the muttaqin, and their defining feature, belief in the unseen. They just get that there's more to reality than what we can see, and that very openness makes them ready for guidance. Then, on the complete opposite side, you have the rejectors, the kafir. And for them, it's not about a lack of proof. The Quran says their hearts and their hearing are literally sealed. They've made a choice to just refuse the truth, period. But then you get this third group, and they're the most complicated, the munafiq, or the hypocrite. The Quran's description is chilling. It says they have a disease in their heart. On the outside, they look like they're with the believers, but on the inside, it's a storm of doubt, fear of losing their worldly status, and even making fun of the very faith they pretend to have. It's this deep internal war. Okay, so to make these portraits of the heart really hit home, the surah doesn't just leave them as abstract ideas. It dives into this long, detailed, historical case study of one community that went through all three of these states at different times. And that case study is the story of the children of Israel, Bani Israel. Their history is laid out as the ultimate lesson for us. It shows exactly what happens when a community gets showered with blessings and guidance, and how their hearts either get stronger or become corrupted by how they respond. I mean, just look at this journey. It's absolutely wild. They get this miraculous escape from Pharaoh. The sea literally parts for them. They receive the divine law directly from God on Mount Sinai. And yet, the moment their prophet is gone, what do? They start worshiping a golden calf. They're given food from the heavens in the desert, and they complain they want different food. It's just this incredible story of massive blessings followed by massive ingratitude. And just stop and think about the scale of what they saw. The parting of the sea. That wasn't some small thing. The Quran calls it a furqan, an event so clear that it separates truth from falsehood forever. This was a sign so powerful, it should have just erased every last shred of doubt from their hearts. And yet, what happened? Almost right after that? This. While Moses is up on Mount Sinai getting the commandments, they're down below melting their gold to make an idol to worship. It just shows this profound spiritual weakness, a total failure to internalize the guidance they were just given in the most spectacular way possible. So you have to ask, why? Why did this happen? Well, the Quran points to 4 specific spiritual diseases that caused their hearts to harden like this. 1, they started worshiping their own desires instead of God's commands. 2, they were just fundamentally ungrateful. 3, they were greedy for worldly stuff. And 4, instead of submitting, they constantly mocked and challenged the commands they were given. Now, after this long and pretty intense negative example, the surah makes a major pivot. It takes all those lessons and flips them to give us, the readers, the positive alternative. It gives us the blueprint for building a heart that can actually receive and hold on to guidance. See, this is why their story is so central to the Quran. It's not just a history lesson, it's a huge warning sign. And by really understanding where they went wrong, we learn the positive principles we need to build a righteous and strong community today. So what does that look like in practice for us? What's the real difference between a heart that's soft and open and one that's become hard and closed off? To explain this, the Quran gives us this absolutely stunning analogy. It starts with this verse, comparing that hardened heart directly to a stone. But then it goes even deeper, explaining that, hey, even among stones, there are different kinds, just like there are different states of the human heart. This is such a powerful way to think about it, right? Just imagine that divine guidance is like water, and our hearts are like different kinds of rock. So you have some hearts that are like rocks that just gush with water. That's the heart of ihsan, of excellence. It's actively seeking guidance and spreading it. Then you've got hearts that are like cracked rocks. They absorb the water, they take it in, but maybe they need a little push, a test or a hardship, for that water to actually flow out as action. And then you have the hard, dry stones, the ones that just repel the water completely. That's the hardened heart. So how do we build a heart that gushes with goodness? Well, the surah gives us the direct antidote to those 4 diseases we saw earlier. Instead of being ungrateful, we practice gratitude. Instead of freaking out during hard times, we practice patience. Instead of being greedy, we purify our wealth by giving in charity. And instead of forgetting God, we constantly remember Him to keep that connection strong. That right there is the foundation of taqwa. And there's one final beautiful image from a prophetic saying that really brings this home. The believer is like a fresh, tender plant. When the storms of life hit, it bends, but it doesn't break. Its flexibility is actually its strength. The hypocrite, though, is like a big, rigid tree. It might look strong, but because it can't bend, the first really big storm just rips it right out of the ground. And that really is the core message of this incredible chapter. It lays out the whole history of guidance, it shows us the diseases that corrupt the heart, and it gives us the blueprint for righteousness. It shows us 2 paths walked by 2 kinds of people, and in the end, it leaves us with the ultimate choice. Which path are you going to walk?